Yields back. The gentlelady from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's breathtaking that now we're suggesting that we arrest people who are trying to make sure that they could save lives and prevent them from dying of a novel virus that killed millions of people. But as we heard today, there is a lawsuit against the U.S. government for allegedly colluding with social media companies to censor conservative speech online, a case that has now reached the Supreme Court. My colleagues across the aisle favor the position that the government must be forbidden from communicating and collaborating with social media companies. While I disagree, holding that opinion is acceptable, yet clearly we're here so Republicans can influence the justices, as the ranking member said, before this upcoming case, and that's what's unacceptable. To wage an inappropriate court influence scheme under the cover of oversight and impugn men who did their job and did it well is not just improper, it's actual weaponization of the federal government. So this begs the question, are we going to be launching an investigation into our own sham subcommittee? Because that's the weaponization of the federal government. Here we are attacking civil servants who work to keep America safe. That's clear based on the chairman's question line that was designed to bully rather than seek actual information directed at a public servant who was communicating the best scientific information available at the time. We all have comms directors. We know they're not experts, they're communicators. Instead of using their public megaphone to suggest people put bleach in their bodies to fight COVID, Mr. Slavitt and Mr. Flaherty clearly tried to save actual lives amid a global pandemic using sound medical and scientific methods. And they did just that. Numerous studies show that millions of lives were saved because of their work. And, you know, we're not hearing one Republican say that today, but it doesn't make it any less true. Another thing we haven't been hearing today is that there are other legitimate interests for government to engage social media companies, and barring such communications could leave us vulnerable if our election systems are attacked, for example. In Florida, voter suppression is a real concern. Citizens in my state overwhelmingly, for example, said in 2018 that they wanted to restore voting rights to felons. Sadly, over the next 4 years, rather than help our citizens understand Florida's complicated voter eligibility rules, Republicans instead resorted to intimidation and anti-democratic prosecutions. My fear is social media platforms could be used to confuse or intimidate voters. In those cases, why would we stop governments from sharing these legitimate concerns with such powerful, wholly unregulated companies? So, Mr. Seligman, could prohibiting communications between government officials and social media platforms further disenfranchise voters whose communities already face voter suppression? Briefly.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. We've seen the power of one individual like Rudy Giuliani encourage intimidation and violence against election workers. What would happen if social media platforms were amplifying those threats or triggering them?
They would become more severe.
Could you see a ban on such communication between government and social media platforms leading to increased violence against election workers, for example?
Absolutely.
The bottom line here is that this is a Hail Mary of a hearing designed to improperly influence the Supreme Court. And it puts two good men who saved many lives through a blizzard of baseless and distorted accusations and innuendo. Witnesses from the social media companies repeatedly confirm that nobody in the government ever coerced or threatened them to take action, but Chairman Jordan refuses to let the public see the transcripts or videos of their interviews. He's covering it up, which has been repeatedly obvious during this hearing, because for the first time in my 20-year career in Congress, I have never seen the majority not allow introduction by unanimous consent of information into the record for a committee hearing. That's what we should be investigating here today. And Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the full email chain dated March 4th, 2021, following up between Amazon employees and White House employees, which shows that Mr. Slavitt and Mr. Flaherty only asked for a meeting with Amazon to understand Amazon's policies, not make specific requests about content or censor any books. And I also ask unanimous consent to enter experts from the committee's April 16th, 2024 interview with the Amazon employee who received this email, in which the employee explains that that Amazon had been working on policies regarding vaccine-related books on Amazon for weeks before Mr. Slavitt's email.
Object. Objection being raised to the second part. Again,
okay,
I don't want to give a roadmap to other witnesses we plan on calling. We will release all that when we've completed our investigation.
Okay,
Gentlelady's
Mr. Chairman,
time.
right.
I'll give you extra 10 seconds.
Okay, what we're trying to do is introduce into the record the email that ensures that we have an opportunity to...
We said fine to that.
Okay, and then the interview with the Amazon employee who received this email.
We're not going to release the
In
transcript.
which the employee explains
we complete
that
the
Amazon had
investigation.
been working on policies regarding vaccine-related books on Amazon for weeks before Mr. Slavitt's email. Those are connected. Those two things are important information to highlight the obvious evidence that what the two gentlemen
The time from
were
the
doing
gentlelady
had
has
nothing
expired.
to do with what
The
you're
chair now
accusing them of.
recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky for his 5 minutes.
I yield back.
I yield to the gentleman from Ohio.
I appreciate the gentleman yielding. Professor,